I want you to try something. Just take a second. Stop scrolling. Now really think about this. When was the last time you heard someone seriously talk about Jeffrey Epstein? Not a meme, not a passing joke, not a throwaway line in a comment section. I mean, really talk about it. Exactly. It used to be everywhere. In fact, I think we were actually getting close to putting enough pressure on the government to release every file. Yep. It was the story. The kind that cuts through politics, through party lines, through all the usual noise, names, power, money, influence, the kind of things that make people sit up a little straighter and go, wait, what is this all really about? And then, just like that, nothing. Or at least something close to.
Targeted in the Strait of Hormuz, one of several attacked by Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps. The devastation caused to the vessels, which can hold up to hundreds of millions of dollars worth of crude, was clear to see. Since the start of the U.S. and Israel's war with Iran just over two...
Here's the thing about attention. It doesn't get stolen. It gets redirected. Quietly, smoothly, like a magician guiding your eyes with one hand while the other hand does the work. We talked about it a few videos ago. It's called sleight of hand. Not some dramatic, cinematic cover-up where vials vanish and burst into smoke. No. It's slower than that. Way more slow and more human. Because people don't like sitting with uncomfortable questions. They don't like the loose ends that never tie up. They don't like the idea that there are things too big, too tangled, too powerful to ever fully understand. So when something new comes along, something loud, something urgent, something emotionally charged, they turn. Not because they're stupid, because they're tired. Think about it. Every week it seems like there's something new. A scandal, a crisis, a headline designed to hit you right in the chest and say, no, this is the thing you should care about now, right? And you do. Of course you do. Why? Because you're human. But here's where it gets uncomfortable. So while you're looking at the new thing, the old thing doesn't get resolved. It just fades. Not gone. Just fades out of focus. So keep that in mind, people. All the things that you've heard of on the Jeffrey Epstein Island and his plane and Zorro Ranch, those types of things, the things that actually were going on, are still happening. Now, they're a little bit more careful not to get into the public eye. Do you really believe they were eating humans? Maybe they were. But why would they stop? Do you really believe they were assaulting people? Children? Maybe they were. And they never stopped. And the Epstein story? That wasn't small. That wasn't niche. That wasn't some obscure corner of the internet. No. That was a moment where people started asking questions that made powerful people nervous. Connections. Timelines, patterns. What kind of question that don't have easy answers, you know what I mean? The kind of questions that don't want to be answered. And when the volume dropped, not all at once, they would have been obvious. They would have felt like something was wrong. No, it was gradual. Like a conversation at a party that slowly dies while everyone drifts into other rooms. Until you look back and realize nobody's talking about it anymore. Now here's the part nobody likes to admit. It's not just the government. It's not just the media. It's not just some shadowy group in a dark room deciding what you think. It's all of it. And it's us too. Because attention is currency And we spend it every day on whatever loudest, closest, most emotionally immediate. We reward what we click. We amplify what we share. And we move on when something stops giving us that immediate hit of outrage and curiosity. So when people say they pulled a straight up sleight of hand, they're half right. Because the trick only works if the audience is willing to look away. And most people are. Not out of malice, just out of survival. You can't carry every heavy story forever. You can't sit on an outrage 24/7. You can't process every unanswered question without eventually needing a break. So you let go. Just a little, then a little more, until one day you realize you haven't heard about it in months. And that's the real trick. Not erasing the story. They can't do that. Just letting time and noise bury it. Layer by layer, headline by headline, crisis after crisis. So now we're here. A country that once couldn't stop talking about it, couldn't stop thinking about it, now barely even whispers it. And if you bring it up, people shift. They shrug, they say, yeah, that was crazy. Past tense. Like it's finished. Like it's resolved. Like it belongs in the same mental box as the last year's trend of forgotten scandals, but it isn't finished. That's the uncomfortable part. It never really had an ending, just a fade out. And maybe that's the most unsettling thing of all. Not that people were lied to, not that something so monstrous was hidden, but the same thing, the same something huge, something that once demanded attention could just slip out of focus. Not because it disappeared, but because we are all humans and all have done our best to stay as long as we did. We looked at something new, like Iran. Now you see it, now you don't. And the trick always works because nobody's watching the right hand anymore.